Today I thought I'd show you a quick little warm-up exercise. As you can see, I'm drawing little boxes, and they are in perspective. If you have a working knowledge of three-point perspective, it will help. But I'm just drawing little freehand boxes, and I'm using a little light blue color erase pencil to start with, and I go over it with a graphite pencil, which is in this case an F Statler Mars F pencil. You can use just a regular #2 pencil, or you can use whatever you'd like, ballpoint pen or anything else. I like to start with a light colored pencil and then go over it with graphite to kind of tighten it up, because that's the way I work when I'm actually drawing a comic book page. And you can see all these boxes are different shapes and sizes. There's 3 lines going in one direction, and they're not perfectly straight. They're a little arc to them. I use my wrist when I'm drawing. Just gives it a little bit of swing, I like to think. And there's 3 lines going this way, this direction. And I also want to have 3 lines going this way. And you can see these lines slightly converge. They're going to narrow as they move away from this center point. So this is a box, and like this eraser, this corner of the box here is closest to you, and you don't see a real exaggerated angle, but these lines converge as they move away from your eye. You could start by just drawing a kind of a Y shape. And again, that kind of sets up your directions. And then you have, in each direction, you have 3 lines. So you have a total of 9 lines, 3 going in one direction. They're all going to go this way. And then you do 3 lines going in this way, this direction, and 3 lines going in that direction. Now, in theory, these lines are going to converge. And if you wanted to, you could draw these lines out using a straight edge, just to kind of check your accuracy, see if they're going to converge. You can see, like here, this line is maybe a little too sharply angled. But again, this is just a freehand drawing. You just want to warm up at the beginning of the session and try some different angles. It's easy to get 2 lines to converge, by the way. These 2 lines are going to definitely meet somewhere. They will converge at some point. It's the 3rd line, trying to get the 3rd line to harmonize with the first 2. So this is a little sharper, deeper focus. And again, I use a light color at first, and then I go over it with graphite. Kind of gives me two chances to kind of fix it. I'm just using this kind of wrist motion. I'm not using my fingers. That's it's a little harder to control those muscles. I use the wrist, which is just a very simple pivot. I hold the pencil, not real tight grip, just relaxed, and I just use it to create a smooth arc. Again, I'm not going for a real straight mechanical line, but that looks pretty convincing. Now you could actually, if you want to really clean it up, you could use your eraser shield. I never used an eraser shield back in the old days. I used to have one of these in my toolbox for years and years, and I never really used it. But it does come in handy, I found in recent years, as I pencil a little bit more tightly. So you can clean it up. But again, the point is just to warm up. It focuses your mind. It gives you a sense of solidity. Here I've done a few boxes and all kind of perspectives. Some are cubical, some are a little more rectangular. And it segues nicely into drawing a figure. You don't ordinarily think of the human figure as having geometric shapes, but you can apply this kind of abstract thinking to your figures. And again, I'm using my light blue pencil here. And again, start the day, I'm just freehanding. I'm just being very loose, relaxed. I try to use the swing of my wrist. I'm left-handed, obviously. I tend to draw upside down. I tend to start from the bottom to the top. So I use a little bit of swing, a little arc in the drawing. That gives it a little bit of plasticity, I like to think, or a little bit of flexibility. And you can think of the figure as kind of geometric shapes, ovals, spheres, cubes, parallel pipe heads. That's the architectural term for a box that is not a cube. It's more of a rectangular box, like the Seagram's building or the United Nations building or any of those box-like buildings. And I should point out, it's easy to kind of make mistakes at this stage. It becomes second nature the more you practice this. But as I said, let's drop my straight edge. The trick is to get these lines to converge. And you're not always going to be perfectly accurate. So don't worry about it. Try to get these lines to angle in slightly. Bring this line in a little bit. Like I said, it's easy to get two lines to converge. And you could, as I say, you could draw these lines out. See how accurate you are. This is where having some training in mechanical perspective drawing is useful. theoretically, these should all converge at the same exact point. And if you were really going to line it up, you would be very persnickety. You'd have a vanishing point over here, and you'd have all of your lines converge. If you can have 3 lines converge, you can have a 4th line converge. You can have a 5th line converge. You can have as many lines as you want to converge. That creates that sense of perspective. These are called orthogonals. But again, as long as it's relatively convincing, if it looks like you have 3 lines going in the same direction, and it looks like they're going to converge, that's a pretty decent freehand drawing. And I guess I've been doing this so long, I kind of freehand my backgrounds, and then when I use a straight edge to ink them, they come out pretty close. It's easy, as I said, to kind of make mistakes, right? So you have 3 lines, and maybe you're getting confused, or one line sharp is too sharp. You know, this is kind of cubist, because these lines are not going to converge exactly at the same vanishing point. Or it's easy to kind of mess up and have the wrong lines. That doesn't look like a box. It looks like a diamond or something. That's okay. You're going to make mistakes. Just try to fix it. That's why I use 2 different values of pencil. I use a lighter pencil, a light blue pencil, and a darker pencil. And you could even, if you want to, you could actually ink it. Make a real dark line. And feel free to move your paper around or your sketchbook. I'm using a sketchbook here. Can't find my whiteout. Here's my whiteout. Now, sometimes I'll use different kinds of whiteout. This is just a kind of office correction fluid, liquid paper, or Bic whiteout, actually. Okay. You can clean up your edges with whiteout, or you can erase, or whatever. But the point is just a few of these boxes. Spend a few minutes just drawing a couple boxes on your sketchbook, and it helps focus your mind. You're thinking in 3 dimensions. You're thinking in depth. It kind of Ernest R. Norling, Perspective Made Easy. This is more for architectural drafting. This explains vanishing points and horizon lines. The interesting thing about this book is that he only does 2-point perspective. He doesn't do 3-point perspective. One of the best little diagrams is in this book. Let me focus my camera. Sorry about that. The Visual Dictionary of Architecture by Francis D.K. Ching. This is a Wiley book. Moments in my videos, but I have to adjust it. So here we have a box, 3 lines going to one vanishing point, 3 lines going to another, 3 lines going to yet a third. And here you have a kind of a drawing of a steeple. That's a good explanation of perspective. There's also a book called the Handbook of Perspective Drawing Handbook by Joseph D'Amelio. This is a pretty common textbook. And again, he gets into eye levels and perspectives and orthogonals and how to draw people in perspective. He's not much of a figure artist per se, but he certainly understands perspective. Again, this is just a quick warm-up to get you started in the morning. It's a simple shape. 3 lines going one direction, 3 lines going in another direction, and 3 lines going in the third direction. Total of 9 lines. Nine lines. Have fun, and I'll talk to you soon.